Hi guys, Dan here, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to show you the cheapest possible way of doing SEO so you can get started at whatever level you're at. If you watch this video all the way to the end, I'm going to actually give you enough information that you'll be able to take action on this and get real results. So you're going to have to spend a little bit of money, but I'm literally talking about $10. Okay, so first thing we want to do, the absolute cheapest keyword research tool there is Keywords Everywhere. Okay, and this tool right here, it's one of the best tools out there, and I use this a lot. The only tool I use more than this is Ahrefs, but that's a lot of money. I could definitely do my job with just this tool alone. So you're going to pay $10 to get this tool. That's all I paid for this, and I'm talking about, I wonder if this was about a year ago I bought this. I can't really remember, but I've used 10,000. You're buying 100,000. You're paying $10. It's an absolute bargain, right? When you buy this tool, what happens is every time you search in Google something, it'll show you how many searches it gets per month. Right in the SERPs, you'll be able to see exactly how many searches it gets. So that's obviously very beneficial when it comes to figuring out what you should and shouldn't be doing. And although Ahrefs, SpyFu, Moz, SEMrush, all these tools might make it a little bit quicker, if you're starting out, you will have a massive advantage buying this over not buying anything. And then also you haven't really spent any money, so I'm sure that if you stick with SEO, you're going to do well, because I've done well and I see a lot of other people doing well. But one of the objections I had was spending money when I was a younger guy. Like this, listen, just spend the money, but get Keywords Everywhere. It is one of the best tools out here, right? So get that. Then what we want to do, let's take the example of a scaffolding company, okay? Because I work with a scaffolding company and I've got them some really good results. So I know the industry, but I want to show you the thought process and how to actually find these keywords. So I've got Keywords Everywhere installed. I've bought the 100,000. I've used 10,000 over the span of the last year or so. I'd be surprised if I have to buy more, but I would not begrudge it for this company right here. So if we use scaffolding as the example, right, let's go ahead and do a search for scaffolding in Google. 40,500 searches per month for scaffolding. Average cost per click of £1.60. So the higher this is, the more likely it is that it's a good keyword to bid on. Now, here's the problem with this keyword. If we have a look at what the SERPs is pulling back, we've got a DIY scaffolding tower. We have some sort of join. We have another DIY scaffolding tower. We have a roller tie, so it's fixings, and we have another tower. So these are the different sponsored listings on here. When we come down to the ads, we've got scaffolding towers as this one, and then this looks like a company, but I'm not going to click on it because it costs the money and I don't want to do that. Then we come down, we've got the local results, so this is Google My Business. And then after that, we've got this company ranking #1 for scaffolding. It's Scaffolding Direct. So let's have a look and see what that is. So these guys right here, they're selling equipment for scaffolding. Now, our imaginary company, they are selling scaffolding services. And so this is not relevant, right? We go down the next one, Wikipedia. So Wikipedia's ranking here, so that's information about scaffolding. So far we've got equipment, information, and then number 3, what have we got number 3? We got another equipment, and then we've got eBay, so this is and ladders for sale, so scaffolding ladders, some more equipment. And then we've got some images of scaffolding, and then we've got Gumtree scaffolding for sale, and then we've got a company. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the organic results on the first page for the term scaffolding do not have the intent to find a business. It's only number 6 that does. So scaffolding gets a lot of searches, and there's some pretty authoritative websites ranking for it, and the intent is, you know, buying the equipment here. So we probably don't want to go ahead and try and optimize for scaffolding, although on the surface you'd think we do want to with that much volume. We don't want to because it's competitive, and the intent is probably not to find a company majority of the time. So these guys running ads right here, they're going to spend a lot of money that they probably don't need to, because there's a lot of searches that people do that are, the intent is more clear, okay? So after that, what we want to do is try and figure out what it is people actually search for. So if I put a space, we've got rental. So they might be trying to rent some towers and stuff like that, but there is some intent in that one that might be beneficial to us, but we're going to ignore that one for now. Boards, they're probably looking for them for free. Parts, again, types, poles, these are all to do with the product, the different equipment. And then we've got near me. So now near me is a good search because that goes to show that people are looking for a company near them to do scaffolding with. So whenever we look at an industry and we see a near me search, that means we want to definitely get a Google My Business account set up, okay? Because almost 100% of the time, if there's a search that says something near me, Google My Business will be the thing that's featured before the organic results. So if I just pull that up, I'll show you. So we've got a bunch of ads, and then we've got right here the Google My Business listings, and then we've got a bunch of organic results. So we know that's something we want to do, but we'll cross that bridge later. So we can see scaffolding boards, scaffolding poles. So now at this point, what we need to really do is figure out for ourselves, okay, what sort of things would people type in when they're looking for a company? Well, we guess, but we don't need to go off of guesses. So even though we guess what they look for, we can check whether or not we're right. So I'm going to say firm. Okay, not a great deal of people search for scaffolding firm. So maybe I don't want to target my homepage with scaffolding firm. Okay, so let's have a look for agency. Okay, 170. So that's a good keyword. I like that one. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to store these in a spreadsheet. So I've set this spreadsheet up right here. That was from when I first tried to film this video. I've set this spreadsheet up right here, and I've got keyword and the number of searches. So I'm going to paste in that keyword right there, and then I'm going to go ahead into the search right here, and I'm going to grab this number of monthly searches, and then I'm going to just paste this one here. And what we're going to ignore, and you may have seen in other videos, is things like keyword difficulty. And we're going to ignore that for this video. And there's two reasons. One, you're not going to be able to get that back with a free tool. And two, if you're focusing on keyword difficulty, you're going to end up spending more time worrying about whether or not you can rank for something than it would take you to actually try to rank for it. And you would be very surprised as to what you can rank for if you just try, because a lot of people won't even bother trying, okay? So now let's keep going and see what else there is. So I thought agency, and we got 170 there. Let's try company. So 450. So there's more people look for scaffolding company. So let's put that one there. And we got 450 searches right there. So let's paste that in. Now what we want to do is we want to see if there's a variation. So sometimes when people search, they're not just searching for the singular, they'll search for the plural, because they're saying, I want to see a bunch of different companies instead of I want to see one company, because they want to choose from a bunch, or at least they think they want to choose from a bunch. So if we type in companies, we see there's 2,400 a month search for that. So that's great. So that's a good indicator that, okay, there's a lot of people look for it in this way. So we're gonna remember that and use that to influence our decisions later. So let's now try that with firm. We'll try that with firms, so I can show you how you can use this as an actual eliminating process. 110. So a lot more people. When we done scaffolding firm, nobody. When we put the S on there, well, now we've got 110. So we don't want to ignore that keyword. Okay, so scaffolding firms is a good keyword. So we put that in there. So now when we look at these keywords right here, we can see these are all great, and we definitely want to be prioritizing these ones. So the way that websites work is the most authoritative page on a website is the home page. That's the one that's most likely to rank for a difficult keyword. So this is great because these keywords are broad enough to rank for it. So for my company, for example, On Top Marketing, I've got web design and SEO, pay-per-click, conversion rate optimization, and so my main thing may be SEO or it might be pay-per-click, but I wouldn't want to target my homepage with that because I've got a landing page for that, and so I needed to find a broader keyword to target the homepage with, which was digital marketing agency. Okay, so what we want to do here is we've found that broad term because there's loads of different types of scaffolding. And this is something that you learn when you deal with a client over time, but also you can learn by looking at competitors, and we'll go into that in a moment. But we found straight away, okay, this right here, these two, these are winners. We want these. And all these other keywords are great as well. So we can target all of these keywords on our homepage, not just one of them. So the next step is to find out your service area. So you need to ask the client what their service area is. Now, let's say they said to you, look, we're a small company. We'll do anywhere in Essex, right? Okay, so Essex. So great. What we want to do now is we want to search for Essex towns by population, and then we can get this Wikipedia page right here, and we've got Southend-on-Sea. So look, it's saying there's lots and lots of people in Southend-on-Sea. So we'll do a search now in Google Where's it gone? We'll do a search now in Google for scaffolding Southend on Sea. Okay, nothing. So let's try a variation. Let's get rid of these hyphens. Okay, nothing. So now let's just try Southend. Okay, faulty. So now that's a good area to cover. So what we're going to have to do with this project, because we know that they're serving a big area, and there are people that look in this way. They look by searching for the service and the location, and that's really common for any sort of service. People look for the service name and then their location. We can very quickly here prioritize which different location target page we need to build. So let's go ahead and put that in there. Scaffolding Southend, and then how many searches was it? 40. 40. So straight away we got another one right there. So now let's look at the next keyword, the next location, sorry. Where has it gone? Here. Colchester. That's where I'm based. So let's go ahead. Colchester, scaffolding Colchester. Okay, 90. So even more. So let's paste that in. So we've got Colchester, and then it really is just a case of basically going through all of these different places, finding out how many searches they get. There's no point in me doing this, showing you each one of these, because I think that you'll get very bored. But it really is a case of going through all of these different places, finding out, you know, the towns that get the most searches. I'm going to do one more after this, so I can show you how to make decisions on these projects. So go through all of these different towns that get these searches, and then you've got to figure out which one is worth prioritizing, because you've only got so much time in the day. Okay, so this is another one. So this one's getting 40. So here we go. Here's what we do. We've now got a bunch of data. Okay, so we know all of these keywords right here we're definitely targeting with our homepage. Okay, so these are definitely homepage. These are going to be location targeted pages. Now, you're not going to get all these done on the initial project. The initial project is probably going to be to get the website built and get the core pages set up. So we've not even really looked at the core pages yet, but we can see straight away there is potential for a good SEO campaign here, even if they just serve Essex. Okay, so we've got homepage keywords right here. They're getting a lot of searches. Then what we've got right here is some location pages, and what we'd do is we'd prioritise making the Colchester and Chelmsford pages over the Southend and Basildon pages, because these are most likely to bring in traffic the quickest, because there's the most people searching. So there are other locations, and one of the locations actually brought a lead in yesterday for my scaffolding client, which is in Clacton, which is a fairly smallish town, seaside resort town. And that page brought a lead in yesterday, but it doesn't get many searches. Let me see how many that Clacton gets. So according to this tool, it doesn't get any searches per month. But when it says 0, you've got to bear in mind other tools will say different. So I think Ahrefs might have said 0 to 10. I built it out because I can get these done quick. As I say, these pages do bring in leads, but they won't be as consistent. But obviously, if you rank number 1 for scaffolding Clacton, you might get a lead every month, every other month, every third month. If you rank number 1 for scaffolding Colchester or Chelmsford or Basildon, and I actually do for a couple of these, then you're going to be getting leads every single month. Okay, so the more searches that they get, the more likely it is they're going to be bringing in leads for your client, which, you know, is the more likely they're going to stick around with you for a long time. I've had this client for ages because I am their source of leads, and I just keep growing and growing their business. So this is how we find location pages. Now, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to move those down, but we've found that people search in this way, so we know we definitely want to be building these out. But we need to figure out now, there's another type of page that we need to think about, and that's a service page. So scaffolding is an industry, but there are different scaffolding services. So we need to figure out what are those scaffolding services. A great way to do that is to go ahead and search for a larger term, like London, okay, like a big city. Have a look at the company ranking number 1, go on their website. Don't click on the ads, go ahead and just click on the organic listings, because that's what we're looking at here. And then what we'll see is if we go to services, okay, great. So these guys have got a lot here. So we can see they've got domestic scaffolding, commercial scaffolding, scaffolding design, specialist scaffolding, health and safety, scaffolding hire and sales. I'll tell you what I've just explained to you here right now if you've been paying attention to what I've been saying and taking notes, you will be miles ahead of the average web designer when it comes to how to actually build a website. Okay, this is what matters. Look at what the big companies are doing. These guys have got a landing page for domestic scaffolding. So that's domestic is when you've got like a homeowner that wants to get some scaffolding done so they can paint the outside of their house or repair their gutters, or maybe they need chimney work done. So they've actually built out a service page for this particular thing. And what they've done, when you look here, they've got, you know, their H1 right here. I'm going to inspect the element and have a look. So their H1 is domestic scaffolding London. Okay, and then they've got scaffolding for properties in London. And then they've got a bunch of text and then some images of the different jobs they've done. This is great because this is going to build trust. And then I'm just trying to get rid of this thing, hang on. And then they've got a clear call to action. Now, one thing they are missing is a clear call to action above the fold. This stuff's okay, but it ain't good enough. You want a form, something that makes it very, very easy for them to do. The phone number's great, but if I click on that, this happens. Yeah, most people don't have the software installed, so that's okay for mobile, not great for desktop. You want a form above the fold or some clear call to action. This is acceptable, but it isn't as good as it should be, okay? So then we come down, they've got their clear call to action, they've got even more content, so loads and loads of content, and then they've got FAQs, and these probably have schema. Do they? Let's see. No, they don't. Okay, great. So they need to. So that's another way they could make this better, is use schema markup. Check out the other video on my channel for that. If you want to learn how to do that, that can make your SERP listing bigger than anyone else's, 3 times the size. And then they've got all these different accreditations down here. So this is also great for trust. They've got the Google logo. So great. Okay. We might not be able to get this Google ratings because we may not have a bunch of reviews yet, and we may not have the facility to do the live chat because they might be a small company. But what we can see is that they created a domestic scaffolding page, and they then put some images in and they targeted that, so they know that when people are looking for the services, they look for domestic scaffolding. Okay, so we want to see, okay, that's great, do people search for that? So let's put in domestic scaffolding, 70 searches a month. Brilliant. So we definitely want to be targeting that. Don't worry about the fact that it's in capitals. That you don't want to do it in capitals, but I'm just doing this for speed. So let's grab that. 70 per month. Brilliant. We now have a service page that we need to be building out. Okay. So then let's have a look what else they had here. So they had commercial scaffolding. Let's see what that page is like. The website seems to be a little bit broken on that page. Right, so commercial scaffolding London. Another page, very similar, loads and loads and loads of content. Okay, so that's fine. So we know, okay, so scaffolding London. Why would they build out that page? Do people search for scaffolding London? Let's see. Commercial scaffolding, I mean. Okay, 140. So commercial scaffolding, that's going to be big money for a scaffolding company because that could be an entire construction site. Okay, so we definitely want to be targeting that. 140 searches every single month. Now let's have a little look into some of those other terms and see if they're doing the same, because what we really want to do is figure out what we want to be prioritizing here. So scaffolding design. Scaffolding design London. Let's see if scaffolding design gets any searches. 590 per month. There is a featured snippet and a bunch of questions, and the intent here is different. So there's information. Is this a service? Scaffolding, there's lots of information. Piece design. Okay, so the intent isn't necessarily to hire a service by the look of it. I think that this company are ranking for it, so it would probably be worth doing. I wouldn't prioritize it, but the fact that it gets all these searches means it's worth doing. Okay, so scaffolding design is also worth building out as a service page, but what we would want to do is we'd want to mark down the importance. Now, one of the ways that I do this is I have something I use where I mark out with free the business potential when I use this for blogging, something I learned off the Ahrefs blogging for business course. If we put in here biz potential, and then right here, all of these, we know for a fact they're all going to be a free. Yeah, no doubt. They're all a free. All of these are a free. This one, I'm going to say a 2. And the reason for that is very simple. We don't really know the intent behind this search. The majority of the time, I don't think it's going to be to look for a service. So we may build the page, but we're not going to prioritize it. If this is a free, we prioritize getting it done. Okay. If it's a 2, we do it after the frees are done. So that's a great keyword. We've just found a new one there. So let's carry on. So specialist scaffolding. The menu seems to break when you get down into a deep page. Let's see what this is. So specialist scaffolding, all of their pages are a bunch of content. So if you hire an SEO content writer, you could get these rankings, and you could do it yourself if you don't have the budget for that. You just got to learn how to say a lot of stuff. So here we go, 30 searches. So another one, specialist scaffolding, brilliant. That is going to be great if your client can actually provide specialist services, and that might be like scaffolding for these, like for bridges, like they do like underhanging scaffold. That's a specialist service. If you have a client that can provide these specialist services, and you might want to talk to the client and figure out what it is that's specialist about it, then you want to be building out that page, and that has a very high business potential. Okay, so that's that one right there. Let's have a look what the next one is. So health and safety. I'm not going to build this page because health and safety, the intent is nothing to do with scaffolding. It may help in the conversion rate ever so slightly, but this is something people expect. They don't expect you to be an unsafe company, but you may want to talk about it a little bit in your content. That's what I typically do. And then we've got scaffolding hire and sales. So here they're talking about so this comes back to that hiring, and the intent behind this one isn't really clear. So let's just have a little look at the scaffolding hire keyword. Access towers, mobile platforms. So this comes back to the sort of DIY stuff, and if your client doesn't provide these, then there's not really any real point trying to rank for them. So I don't really go after these keywords like this, the hire. So I would also ignore that one unless your client actually does it, because although these guys have built it, it might not mean that they're getting any leads coming through it. Those other ones, the intent's clear, I can almost guarantee they'll get leads coming through it. So that's their main pages. And then if we look, actually these guys have got an areas we cover. So do they have, but it don't look like they've actually built out location targeted pages, which is a shame because they're missing out on a bunch of traffic. Because if you're in London, there are a load of, you could do Hackney, you could do, a load of different places in London. For it, let's just use one of those as an example, okay? So let's zoom in a bit here. Let's do Romford. So if we search for scaffolding, how do you spell it? Romford. There you go. 90 searches a month. So they could be getting an extra 90 searches every single month. They could be getting, let's say, 20, 30 clicks if they rank number one, by just building out those location targeted pages like we're going to be doing right here. Okay, so we've found all these keywords right here. Let's have a look though, because I know for a fact there's more. So let's have a look. Let's have a look back at scaffolding companies, and let's see if there are any that do anything different. Let's have a look at these guys. So our services, what do they talk about? Nothing. Let's have a look. Who else we got here? These guys might be good. A Birmingham company. What services do they have? Domestic, commercial, bespoke. Okay, that's interesting. Let's see if that's a keyword. So bespoke scaffolding. Brilliant. 10 searches a month. So there's intent. The fact that a company's house page is ranking on the first page means we could probably take this first position right here. So, and there's another company's house, so we could definitely take this off them. So bespoke scaffolding, that is brilliant because again, high business potential. The SERPs may not necessarily show that, but you can just use your own head and figure out that if someone's looking for bespoke scaffolding, they're looking for a specialist type of service like this, and there's going to definitely be a high business potential right there. So that was getting 10 searches per month. Those 10 searches we want, and that might only bring us in 1 click a month, ranking number 1 for that, but we want that 1 click, okay? So in terms of business potential, this is high, but we'd use our head when looking at these business potentials, and we'd still say, well, it isn't getting as many searches as scaffolding design is, or maybe actually that's a 2, but let's say as commercial scaffolding. So we're going to prioritize getting the commercial scaffolding page there and good before we go ahead and build out the bespoke scaffolding page that's only getting 10 searches per month. So that's great. Let's keep looking. So where else we got to look at? So services, so that's all they had. So let's go back. The scaffolding company. Let's see what these guys do. Our projects, so they ain't really doing anything, it don't look like. Let's go to the next page. Let's see what these guys do. Services, what we got. Okay, they aren't really... Oh, there we go. Wait a minute. They've got a bunch of pages in London. So these guys are just built... So these guys have done it in a... Similar to what we're talking about, but they've built out these different pages for each one. So scaffolding erection. Let's see if that's a thing. Okay, 390 searches per month. However, the videos are coming up, so the intent might actually be to, you know, watch this being done, learn how this is done. May not be to hire a service, so I wouldn't bother building a page out on that if the intent's not clear. I would give that a business potential of 1, okay? Let's keep going and see. Emergency scaffolding. That's an interesting one. So let's see if that gets anything. 0 searches per month. Okay, so nothing amazing there, and they're ranking for that. Nothing amazing, probably not worth building unless, you know, you see in a different tool that it gets searches. You may want to build that, and I'm actually going to put that in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark down that it doesn't get any searches, but the fact that I've noticed it, because it does look like a pretty cool keyword. But I would put the business potential on that one as a 2 because of the fact that the tool says it don't get any searches. But you do need to use these tools as guidance, but not as the be all and end all. You want to make sure that you're still thinking about it logically and seeing whether you think there's potential there, build it, because it will harm you more to not do something than it will to do it. Almost all of the time, apart from dodgy link building or something. Okay, so that's that. So here we go. Domestic, commercial, health and safety record. Okay, that's great. Let's go back and let's keep looking. Residential scaffolding, temporary roof systems. So let's have a look at this keyword then, residential scaffolding. So that's kind of similar to the domestic. Let's see if that gets anything interesting. Okay, 10 searches, so that's brilliant. So let's have that one. We'll target the same keyword with this page. So let's put that in our spreadsheet here. So I'm holding Alt and pressing enter. So we can put that in there. Alt enter to go down to the next line, and we're getting 10 per month on that. So we'll target that keyword with the same page because the intent is going to be very, very similar. We can actually use the same page to target it. Okay, so let's have a look actually. Let's double check that that's right, what I've just said there. Okay, so someone said, what is residential scaffolding? That's number 1, and that's interesting because that goes to show that there's oftentimes it's in informational intent, so it might be good to even create a blog around that. And then we've got this right here. So this is the domestic and commercial scaffolding page for this company right here, their homepage. Residential scaffolding, domestic scaffolding. So they've called it the same thing. So we know that that is pretty much the same keyword. We can go ahead and target that with one page. Let's see if there's any other companies out here that are doing anything interesting. So let's look at these guys. Industrial scaffolding. Let's have a look if that gets any searches. Okay, 110 searches. The intent is interesting because we've got this sort of DIY stuff coming back again. Then we've got Check It Group. So was that the site we was just on? No, it wasn't. So let's have a look at this then. Check It Group. Types of scaffolding, information. So this is like a blog sort of thing. So we're going to learn about it here. So there's informational intent. And then what we got right here. Let's see. So this looks like a sort of service page. Yep, this is a service page. Industrialscaffolding.net. If this is a service, sort of a company's service website. Excellent. So here we go. That's another good keyword. So industrial, that's going to come under this commercial because it's a very similar thing. So let's paste that in there. And I believe that was another one that was getting about 10 a month. Oh no, 110 per month. Wow. Excellent. So there we go. Let's put that one in there. All of this information, by the way, guys, just want to point out while we're at 28 minutes of doing this, we've paid $10 to get this level of information to make calls that are going to really benefit your client. Now, these leads they're going to get in, some of these are going to be worth some serious money, which means they can pay you the money to go through and do this, and it's cost you $10 to get this information, okay, and a little bit of knowledge as well, which I'm giving you. So there are more, okay, you can keep going through this and you'll find even more services, because you don't really, although tools like Ahrefs, SEMrush, Spyful, all those things are going to really help you to find more keywords, but you don't need it. You can actually do it like this, and we've found some really good keywords right here that we could rank for. These are all service pages, so we know right here we want to build this service page, this one right here, this one, and this one. These are all different service pages we want to build out for the website because they can get us traffic, and we know the order we want to build them in, and then we know, you know, the location pages we want to build after. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how to really map out the website, so you can know what you've got to build and really keep tabs on this project and make sure that things go right, okay? And you can show this to your client and it's going to blow them away, because obviously if you're watching this and you may be a little bit new to SEO in general, you're actually giving so much more value, and I can't emphasize this enough, that if you go to any web design company that's like 5 to 10 employees, they will not have a clue what I'm talking about, and you now understand this stuff, so you as one person are going to be able to offer more value than a whole company. And that's where I got to a couple of years ago, and then you just keep moving forward and forward and forward. So here we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say URL. So I'm going to plan out these URL structures. Okay, so let's say it's company.co.uk / nothing, because this is our homepage. We want to target our homepage with this. Now, your client, we use the example of Essex, so they only serve Essex. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually say, we're going to target these keywords, but we're going to talk about Essex in our title tag. Okay, so the title tag is like these that you see up here. This is the title tag. This is very important when it comes to SEO. So we've got scaffolding company. We know we're just in Essex, so we're going to make our title tag and we're going to title case it. Is it called that, or capital case? I can't remember now. We're going to call it Scaffolding Company Essex, and then we might put local, because we saw that, you know, near me, those sort of local scaffolding companies, local, and then we've got agency and firm. So let's just go ahead and say local. Let's say, because it gets more search, local agency. Let's go ahead and say best scaffolding company local, and then let's say, and here's another thing, because we're scaffolding, there's also scaffolders, local scaffolders. Actually, wait a minute, let's think about this. Local scaffolding, best scaffolding company, local agency, or maybe we say like 5-star agency, something like this. Or maybe we just say best scaffolding company, or maybe, okay, here's how we go. We go local scaffolding company in Essex, and then we just go ahead and we say brand. So let's call them, let's think of an example name. So oftentimes these companies use like an acronym, I can't say that word, you know, letters. Let's say they're called ABC Scaffolders. Okay, what we want to do now, so this would be our title tag. What we want to actually go ahead and do now, because we're targeting scaffolding company, we've got scaffolders in here, we've got local, we want to actually figure out what we want in our H1 tag. And we know we want to incorporate this scaffolding company, we want to get Essex in there, we also want to get some of, you know, the agency firms in here. Even if it's a H1, maybe we want to get it in a H2 as well. Okay, so our main H1 on the page, that's going to be, you know, let's say scaffolding company in Essex, and then one of the things I like to do is have a small tag inside underneath it, so it's a smaller. I'll show you. Whoops. Let me show you right here. I think I might have done it on this page. No, probably be one of the only pages I didn't. Let's have a look at one of my location pages. That's an article. Sorry, give me 1 second. I can't find one. Sorry, guys. Give me a minute. Okay, here we go. I found one. So we've got this right here is my H1 tag, local SEO service, and then when we look inside this, I've got this small tag right here, and then I've got, you know, local SEO company UK. This is my second keyword. I've got best in here. This is a modifier, so that's always good as well. So we want to actually have our H1 tag something like that, and we can include both keywords in there like that. So scaffolding company in Essex, and then in the small tag, so I'm actually going to put it on a new line here, we could then say you know, local, and then agency got more firm, so let's say local scaffolding agency, or top rated local scaffolding agency, or best local scaffold. Let's say top rated. If you've got reviews, then that's fine to say top rated local scaffolding agency. If not, you could just go ahead and say best, because you think they're the best. Best is a keyword modifier, it gets searches, so that's fine. So then after that, so now we've planned out what our H1 is going to look like. Now we want to get our H2, and we know that we haven't used this firms yet, so we might want to say like contact our scaffolding firm today. Okay, so now we've got that keyword in there. And then in the content, what we might want to do is we might want to say something along the lines of, you know, we're proud of our reputation as one of the top scaffolding companies in Essex. So then we've got this companies in here. This is now in our text as well. That's going to help us show up for that keyword. Okay, so now we've planned out our URL is going to be our homepage, our root, because these keywords are the most important to our business. We've got our keywords here, so scaffolding company, we've got Essex, we've got scaffolders as in our brand name, local as well for those local searches, and then our H1 has got company, Essex, agency right there, and then our H2 has got scaffolding firm. So we've covered all of those keywords in our H1, H2 and our title tags. Sometimes you can fit them all in to your title and H1, sometimes you can't. We can't in this instance, so we're going to prioritize the main ones, which are company and firm and agency, like, you know, in that order. Right, so that's that. Now what we want to do is we're looking at this domestic and residential. So we can see that domestic scaffolding gets more searches than residential, so let's focus on that one. So now let's do a search for domestic scaffolding and have a look at the URLs that are ranking in Google right now. So the first, number one is Amazon. We're not going to outrank these. This is because sometimes the intent is this whole sort of do-it-yourself sort of, you know, deal. So that's fine. We're going to ignore that one. Okay. Then we're going to have a look here. So what's this one? This is another one of those towers. So this looks like it might be a higher sort of thing. Let's have a quick look. Okay, so this is a sort of buy or a higher or whatever it is. So that's okay. So we're going to ignore that as well. Let's have a look at this one. So we can see right here, domestic-scaffolding is their URL. Okay, so it's not /services, it's not, and then domestic scaffolding. It's not page 1, it's not page 2. They have domestic-scaffolding in their URL. Okay, so these guys are ranking on their for it with their homepage. This looks like it's services, and then that. And then these guys have got a news thing here, but we can see the one that's ranking high. This isn't a great example, I'm going to be completely honest, but what you want to do is get an average of the ones that are on the first page and see what their URLs are. If their URLs are, you know, don't have a trailing page behind it, then you want to go ahead and just do that. So this one would be company.co.uk and then domestic scaffolding. Okay, that would be our URL for that one. Sorry, not that. Sorry, I put that in the wrong place. Right here. So now what we want to do is we want to get these two keywords in our title tag. So let's say domestic scaffolding company, and then we'll do pipe, and then maybe we say residential scaffolding services. Okay, so that would be fine like that. And then we want to do the same thing in our H1. We could just go ahead and do the same thing. So that could go into the small tag, what I was talking about, so we can get them both in there and it won't look spammy. And maybe what we do with the H1 tag is we actually put in here in Essex. Okay, because this is a broad, this isn't one of these locations, this is one of these broader pages. So that's what we want to do with that one right there. Now we're going to want to do exactly the same thing with commercial. So let's just go ahead and grab that, change domestic to commercial, come in here, paste that there. We want to change domestic to commercial and change residential to, what is it, industrial scaffolding services. And then we want to do the exact same thing here. Okay, so domestic, we want to change that one to commercial. You get the point I'm making, okay? So now what we know straight away is what we got to get on these pages, what the URL has got to be, and what ones we need to build out. So look, I've done these ones. I'm going to skip this one for now, and I'm going to go straight to this one, specialist scaffolding. So let's do another search. Specialist scaffolding. This is a company, so they've got it right there. And then, so to be fair, there ain't really a great deal on here. But company's house, these guys have got it at / specialist scaffolding Bridport. I've never heard of Bridport, to be honest. Interesting. So right, so we want to do the same thing. We, in all honesty, we just want to go ahead and do that. So we know we don't need a services page, right? What was this? Was it specialist? Yeah. So specialist scaffolding. So we want to have it there. We want to then, in this one right here, what we can actually do is we could have this as, you know, specialist scaffolding services. We'll put services in there because we've got our main keyword at the beginning, and that's another thing that's important, by the way, is get your main keyword at the beginning of your title tag and your H1 tag. So we've got specialist scaffolding services, and then what we might want to just do after that is then just put in here, if we can fit it in, you know, ABC scaffolders. Obviously we want to do the same thing with our H1 tag. We don't want to get the brand name in there though, there's no point. So that's that right there. And then the last one we'd want to do is bespoke, and that's going to be exactly the same thing, just replace specialist with bespoke on both of those and in the URL there. Now we've got our main pages, so straight away what do we know? We've got our home page, we've got domestic, commercial, specialist and bespoke. And then maybe we do emergency as an ongoing thing. Maybe that's one of the landing pages we build out ongoing. So these are the pages right here that we want to get done, and I'm going to just actually put that in here. Bespoke. These are the pages that we want to build. So there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages that we absolutely need to get built. And after that, what we want to do, there's something called EAT signals, and EAT signals is basically about your authority. And one of the things that helps with those signals is if you have things like an About Us page, privacy, terms and conditions, cookies, things like that. So they might not be targeted to keywords, and you can sometimes, to be fair. And something else I'll teach you actually while we're on this. This is a super long video, I know guys, but hopefully you're getting a ton of value from this. Something else we can do, so let's say we get this About page. We can target scaffolding firms, this keyword right here. So I never managed to get that in my title tag, okay? But we got agency in the H1, so let's actually stop targeting that with the homepage. So let's have that out of there. Okay, let's cut that, paste that right here. What we're now going to do is we're going to target scaffolding firms with our About page. So let's do this. Our scaffolding firm. So now we've got scaffolding firm in our URL, and this is our scaffolding firm, so it's our About page. So we might want to put our title tag to be, you know, our scaffolding firm, and then maybe we say ABC company, and we can leave it as that. And then our H1 would be, you know, we maybe put in here, you know, leave it as the same thing, our scaffolding firm. And then in our menu, that menu item could still say About Us. There's no issue with doing that at all. So let's say menu item right here, and then that could be About Us. So in terms of usability, it doesn't look bad, but then we've got it SEO optimized for scaffolding firm. So our About page targets a keyword with 110 searches every single month. That is a bloody brilliant thing to do. Okay, so now we've got this About page right here. Now we know that there's no keywords, so we're going to just say n/a. And what we want to do obviously is, let's go ahead and put that in there. We don't really want to target these with keywords, but we need to get them done. But we've got to get basically privacy, and we've got to get done T&Cs, and we also need to get done the cookies page. You can find generators for these things, and in all honesty, what's more important is that you have the page there so Google can see that you've set the site up properly. I wouldn't worry too much about the legal side of this, because it's just going to end up tying up a bunch of your time and making you anxious. As far as I'm aware, no company has ever, like service company, has ever been sued because their cookies policy didn't accurately reflect what was going on. Just have a little look at the different. If you're using analytics, just have that on there. There'll be templates online that you can copy. But for small businesses, I really would not worry too much about it. So get these pages on the site right here. And then straight away, so we know what we'll do now. I'm going to highlight these so that I could see for myself the ones that absolutely need to be built. So we've got these right here. This one we're leaving for now. Bespoke we'll leave for now actually. So this one, specialist we'll go ahead with because you know it's enough searches there. Commercial, domestic, and obviously the home page. So let's mark these in the red. These have got to get done. Right, now I can move these ones out. So if I grab these, I can move these ones out down here. What happened there? Didn't seem to cut. Right, let me try that again. Right, so let's mark these in the red. And then let's grab these ones and then let's cut them and paste. I can't seem to cut the whole thing. Sorry about this. Give me 1 second. Cut. There we go. It's just not having it, is it? Alright, let's delete those. So now we've got these ones and we know exactly what it is we need to be getting done. Oh, there we go. That's how you do it. So we know the most important pages that we've got to get built. Okay, so this is the first stage of this project. Then afterwards what we do is then we go ahead. Oh, sorry, and these ones as well. I'm sorry, guys. I guess this video's gone on a bit long and I'm getting a bit tired. So let's go ahead, mark these in the red as well. Okay, these are the pages that have got to get done. These are the keywords they're targeting. This is how much searches that they get per month. This is their business potential. All of them are free, so we absolutely must get them done. The site can go live at this point. If it's got a About Us page, if it's got the different service pages, if it's got the home page, cookies, terms and conditions, and privacy, the site can go live at this point. So we get this done first, okay? So then what we want to do is, as an ongoing thing, is we start building these out. So these are additional services pages that I found during this 45 minutes. We build these pages out, going down a similar route with a title and H1 tag. And then we want to go ahead and build out location pages. And this is where it really scales over time, because every single month you can build out more and more location pages, which grows their overall traffic long term, builds out their web property as like this great big entity that's just bringing in a bunch of traffic. And it's really quite exciting. So that's what gets done afterwards, but we get this done first because this is the most important things. And then what we need to do is, when we're building the website, and this is something that you have to read the client, because sometimes clients are experienced enough to know that beautiful design doesn't necessarily make them more money, but some really believe that they want something that looks great, and that's why it always depends on what the client wants. Some clients want something that they'll feel proud of when they look at, and if so, you're selling a different service to this. But if you're just trying to get leads, like some of these websites that we've looked at, they do not look pretty. Okay, like this isn't I like the site, don't get me wrong, but it's not exactly beautiful. You know, I'm not going, wow, and I'm not left in awe by the design, and this is old-fashioned. But at the end of the day, if this is an old-fashioned design, and this is something that annoys me when I watch other people that, you know, do what I do, and they critique web design, and they're like, this is old-fashioned. If this brings in leads, it does not matter if it's old-fashioned. It really doesn't matter, because it depends. What's the point of a website? Is it to look modern, or is it to bring leads in? So I'm not saying this is a good website, by the way. It's not. There's no clear call to action. It's not great. But if this content here was replaced with a form and the content was placed at the bottom, this would be great. It's ranking on Google, it's getting traffic, so that's fine. There's no SSL, but, you know, it could be made better. But what I'm saying to you is I wouldn't worry too much about the actual website design itself. What you want to worry about is getting it to actually perform well online, and the way you do that is by prioritizing, putting the hour or so like we just have into planning this out to actually target real keywords that get real searches every single month, that have a high business potential, and then actually do the on-page SEO necessary to achieve the rankings for them. And then when it comes to the design, really, like if you look at this website, like this is quite nicely designed. Okay, I built this right here. There's a dodgy looking picture of me. And what I've got is, as soon as people hit this page, they've got a call to action right here. You can fill it out. You've got your name, website, email address, and phone number. And every single service page that I have offers the exact same thing. So we go to Web Design Services, exactly the same thing. You even go to the cost calculator. The cost calculator is above the fold. I've not stuck that below all this content. It's above the fold. It's the first thing that you hit. And that really improves the conversion rate. And as I say, every single page that we look at on this site, you'll have the form, and I'll do something to draw attention to the form, because I don't want people reading this content. They're more than welcome to. I can write content quite well, but what I really want them to do is fill this form out. So everything about this page is about, let's fill out the form. You come down, you know, let's fill out the form. Everything takes them back to the form. All we want is people to fill out this form. Okay, so we really do want to prioritize getting this call to action above the fold. You don't have to have the form like this. I like this better. I find that it performs better having the actual form here. But another way that you can actually go ahead and do this is you can have a form like this. So you get a call to action here, you click on that, and that brings up the form like this. Okay, that's another really good way of going about getting leads. But I personally believe that you're much better off actually having the form visible on the page so people can see how easy it is to take action. Okay, and it doesn't need to look as good as this. It could look absolutely rubbish. You could use the standard 2012 theme in WordPress. As long as you've got a form on the right, your title is SEO optimized, you're getting traffic, and you've got nice imagery so it looks like you're a good company, you're going to get leads. If you're getting traffic, and your conversion rate might be low, but you worry about the conversion rate after you're getting all this traffic. If you're ranking for these keywords and you're getting a couple of hundred clicks every month, like let's say you're getting 300 clicks a month for these service terms, right? If your conversion rate is like 1%, you're going to be getting 3 leads come in every month. 300 people, 1%, you're going to get 3 leads come in, right? So you can then work on that afterwards and say, well, look, if I increase my conversion rate by 2%, then I'll be getting, you know, whatever. Do you see what I mean? You can look at that afterwards. You don't do that at the beginning. You do that after. You get traffic first. And if your website is too horrendous, you will get a high bounce rate, which will stop you getting traffic. But as long as your website looks slightly better than this, you'll be okay, you know, or better than this or this. Like, these aren't that great. And the client don't care about how nice your website design is, or your client might, but their clients don't care. This don't look great. It's got the text cut off, and it's got, you know, this here, and it's not a nice design, but they're probably getting leads. So does it matter? What really matters is just that the site ranks, it gets traffic, and then it can get leads. So that's what matters. So listen, hopefully you enjoyed this video and you found a lot of value here. If there's anything that you'd like me to go over specifically, drop it in the comments below, and I'm happy to teach. I've been doing this for years, so hopefully I've jump-started your career a little bit so that you can get to where I am a lot quicker. And if you did enjoy the video, make sure you hit like and subscribe to the channel for more, and I'll see you in the next one.